After what you would call a classic Superspeedway race last week at Daytona for the season opener for the iRacing East Superspeedway Series, we come to Talladega in the Cup cars once again for round number 2 of this 2021 spring season. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me tonight, as he will be for the remainder of the season, Mr. Nate Siefker. Nate, fun race last week. It's going to be another great one here tonight.
Round 2. Let's do it again. I'm excited for this tonight. Bigger track, wider lanes, more action. Hopefully we see a lot of it tonight.
You know, we had a lot of great racing at Talladega specifically last season. A lot of long runs. One of the better races that we had here last year. Caution came out coming to the white flag, and that was the only caution that we had in that race, and that was here at Talladega last season. As we start up this new season, we saw Elijah Ennis, who's in this group right here, running in the number 68 up there on the outside line. Ennis is good to go. He knows he's going to be in the playoffs. Still want to keep that momentum up. There's a lot of season here to go. So could be looking at drivers to kind of keep it calm here still this early in the year.
Yeah, this is the point of the year where you want to be established. This is the point of the year where you're learning everyone still, and you're trying to figure out who's got the stuff, who doesn't got the stuff. So, you know, in the Elijah's case, he's in a really good position, locked in to the playoffs for next season. So he can afford to just go out there and just drive how he wants to.
There's the practice wreck. We've only got a minute left here in this practice session before we hit the 1-lap, 5-minute qualifying session coming up next here. We have 32 drivers here tonight, so a little bit of a bigger field than what we saw at Daytona. A couple of new names still trickling in on this series, and more names to come trickling in for the Monday night series, which starts in 2 weeks' time. So still a lot of learning being done here in these early races in the Superspeedway series.
And it's nice when, you know, you only have one series to prioritize. Like you said, they are going to start up their Monday night series in 2 weeks. So all these guys, they're just running on Friday nights. You know, it's their one night of the week. They might as well make it worthwhile.
Yep, certainly. As we have 15 seconds left in this practice session right now. About to click on over to qualifying. Shane Posey, right now the fastest driver in this practice session, and that is where he will stay for the end of this practice session as we head on over into this open qualifying session. Shane Posey, Clayton White, Zach Bowerman, Chris Worrell, and Ernie Ludwig, the top 5 drivers in the practice session for today's race. And right now it appears as though we have some cars getting on track. Right there you see the driver of the 00, Ryan Worley, on track right now. Zashawn Dwera, Elijah Ennis, Byron Rodney on track. So guys starting to trickle out here. Cody Smith getting on track as we'll flip on over to the season opening winner, Elijah Ennis. And a great race last week. Saw a lot of heavy hitters get taken out early. So it left some unique guys and guys that we hadn't seen up at the front all race long up battling for the win. And for Ennis, who went winless last year, great start to the season, clearly.
And it's also really nice when, you know, you don't win a race in a while. Kind of like Dale Jr. Do you remember back in 2014 how he didn't win a race all 2013, and then he comes out, wins the Daytona 500, wins 3 or 4 more races that year. Probably his closest season to winning a championship. So winning a race, especially the first one after going winless for a huge portion of it, is very, very good for momentum, and Elijah's got it probably for the rest of the season.
Certainly, you see times at the bottom of the screen right now. The man closest to finishing his first timed lap, I believe, is actually Elijah Ennis. So we're going to stick with him here. Byron Rodney close to finishing. Zishandwera also close to finishing their first flying lap. Sticking within us, really no drama here on this first lap. Keeping it nice and smooth on that inside line. Not too much moving around out of that 68.
Yeah, just being as smooth as possible with that wheel, putting the least amount of feedback through the wheels possible. As he comes across the line here, he's going to roll off P1 at the moment.
50.83 for the driver of the number 68, the season opening winner, Cody Smith, just crossing the line right now at a 50.92. Looking through, Ernie Ludwig about to finish his lap. Braden Leary goes to the point with a 50.82. Ernie Ludwig goes to fourth. Looking now, closest one to finishing the lap here is the driver of the number 71, Mark McFadden. And we know McFadden from Sim Racer's Edge had a very good run going last week here until a late race wreck caught him out.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I think him and Ernie both got caught up in that one incident with 5 to go, if I'm correct. So he's just looking to finish the race, maybe get a strong top 10 here, Mark is, and I think he's very capable of doing it. I look forward to seeing him at the front, hopefully.
Yep, certainly. Is McFadden about to cross the line to complete his lap? McFadden goes up to sixth. Adrian Moore, who set the fastest first half of the lap, will set overall pole time at a 50.79. Brody Smith, last year's champion, crossing the line in that DC Solar number 24. He will slot himself into the 8th position. Cruz Hernandez Jr. in the 81, moving himself into the 7th position. Right now, only 2 cars on track. Joe Gautier here in the 67. And Nick Kessler in the 4. Those are the 2 guys that are on track setting timed laps at the moment. Scott Warren just starting his fast lap, and it looks like Gautier has pulled off, so he will not set a time. Here's Nick Kessler. Always a threat to get pole here with 40 seconds left. And Kessler sets the best second half of the lap, moves himself up into the 5th position, and Scott Warren might have nailed this perfectly. He might get out there with a good lap, but running that outside, he's not going for pole at the moment.
Not going for pole. I don't think he's going to, well, he's going to barely make it, I think. Yeah, he'll make it.
This would be a timed lap for Scott Warren. With 5 seconds left, he crosses the line. Warren goes P13, so slowest of the drivers that have taken time, and that will do it for this qualifying session as we get set to go for round number 2 of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series. Here at Talladega, it's Adrian Moore who is the quickest here tonight. Brandon Leary accompanies him on row 1. Last week's winner, Elijah Innes and Zishan Dwera, 2 teammates, occupying row 2. Nick Kessler and Ernie Ludwig in row 3. Byron Rodney and Cruz Hernandez in row 4. Chris Worrell and Brody Smith, they make up row 5. Row 6 will go to Mark McFadden and Cody Smith. Row 7 to Scott Warren and the rest of these guys. Scott Warren, the last one to set time. Connor Trafari rounds out row 7. Row 8 will be James Cato, Brandon Wilson. And row 9 will go to Dan Brazington and Zach Bowerman, Nate.
Greg McOney will start the race in 19th position alongside Shane Posey on the 10th row. J.C. Cortell will start the race in 21st alongside GT Parquet in the 22nd position. William Rucker will roll off 23rd alongside Clayton White. Nicholas Wing and Joe Gautier, he'll make up row 13 alongside Ryan Worley and Gene Cato. He goes off in 28th. Austin Rucker will roll off 29th alongside Shane Paul. Jason Patt will roll off 31st alongside John Lombard. Ronald Holmes comes off 33rd, and Brad Mashburn will roll off the grid in the 34th and final position.
So there is your grid here for round number 2 of this season. Just waiting for a couple of guys to grid up here. And Nate, you had touched on it during practice. This is a wider racetrack, and that usually allows for a lot of crazy racing and a lot more aggressive moves than what you would see at Daytona. And with the Cup car being the car that these guys feel the most comfortable in, this could be a very wild night here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the third lane is a lot more open compared to Daytona. But the one factor that goes into this is even though the air temp today is at 65 degrees, we're looking at a track temp of 113. So the track is going to be pretty slick overall as this race goes on. It'll be interesting to see who manages to maybe keep their tires on check, because if you wear them out, it will be a little bit difficult to get off the corners, and especially if someone's pushing you to the win.
It certainly will be, and you can see that track temp. That just means a very hot and greasy day. We had a very good amount of cars, I believe. Oh, no, there they come. I know Elijah Innes missed grid, so the driver of the 68 gives up, I believe it was a third place starting spot to go to start in pit road. So that will move Nick Kessler up into the third position. And that's a strategy that guys like Elijah Innes played so well last year, was to just kind of ride around in the back and wait for things to happen in front. And as you saw last week, that's where they ended up.
If it works, you might as well use it. And Elijah proved that, that strategy does work. So, it'll be interesting to see. This track is wider. They usually have more green flag runs here. He's going to be open for a caution at some point here in the early half of this race. Because that's when that strategy works best, is if you get an early caution.
And we did see a couple of early caution flags come out last week. I think we had 3 cautions in the first 15 laps before the race settled into its own. Didn't even make it to turn 2.
Yeah,
and before the race, then after that, the race settled into its own. We saw a couple of green flag pit stops. And again, that has to do with guys learning how to race around each other, where we've had so many new guys come into the series this year, 20-plus new drivers come into the series this year from last year. But as we get ready to go, the pace car ducks off, and this is going to be quite a wait as we go through the tri-oval under pace speed. Adrian Moore currently sitting on the pole position. He will lead them down. Brandon Leary to his outside. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here at Talladega, and already Nick Kessler going to the back.
He either missed a shift or that's intentional, which it looks more intentional than not, but it's probably another strategy too. Probably wanted to get the higher starting position so he could have a further pit stall. At the moment, yeah, he looks like he's just going to drop back and just kind of ride this out.
Yep, and you'll see more drivers here drop down to the apron to try to get into the back. As you can see, 3 wide up for second position. That is the driver of the number 97, Cody Smith, on the outside lane with his teammate Zach Bowerman in the number 9 behind him. The 81 of Cruz Hernandez really benefited from that start. Started in 4th position and came right down to the inside line. He is going to the lead.
He's going to the lead, but he's going to get left out to dry on that outside line because look at this. They kind of just shuffled him out, Brandon Leary did. Now he's just kind of just in that second groove, Brandon is. But look at him. He's just going to go right to the back. He's probably going to end up cycling at the end of this lane. But look how quick that was to just, he got shuffled out of line. Look how far he got dropped to the back.
Yep, and got that lap led, so I'm sure he's not all that upset with it. Still 3 wide up here at the front. That's Adrian Moore being pushed by Ernie Ludwig in the 16 on the inside line. The 99 of Brandon Leary been left out to dry in the middle lane. Down comes Cody Smith now. And he will split Posey and Leary. Now Bowerman goes back down into the middle. Byron Rodney up into 3rd position in the number 75.
Byron knows how to wheel these things. He does a really good job. He's won a couple of late races just by sticking around the front. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's raced around these guys a whole lot, has he?
The last race I remember him doing, I think, was one of the races either just prior to the playoffs or the first round of the playoffs at Daytona in the trucks, as the 09 of Adrian Moore decides he is going to get out of the lead and comes up right in front of Scott Warren. And will get back in line just before the 3 of James Cato catches up to him.
Not quite understanding that strategy. I mean, he's out in front on the bottom. Why don't you just stay there? I mean, he must have a good reason, because he just gave up the lead to be back in, 14th, 15th place roughly. And if they cause that accident up here, now he's in the danger zone.
And 2 teammates now going to the lead. The 9 of Zach Bowerman and the 97 of Cody Smith have taken the lead away from the number 99 of Brandon Leary, as the top 4 have single filed out here at Talladega. Shane Posey in the 83 currently leading that outside lane with Cruz Hernandez behind him. Also coming up in there, William Rucker in the number 77 on that outside line, but things are really calming out here a lot quicker than they were at Daytona.
Yeah, it's a lot more spread out and still pretty organized, especially on the bottom. So at Daytona, if you remember, they were really packed up, and there's no really because that bottom was so strong. Here, all 3 lanes work very efficiently, so you can able to spread out more and utilize all the lanes. So that's why we're seeing the field overall have more spread.
And one thing that we were able to see quite a bit of last week was this man here, Scott Warren, in the number 17, really made that side draft work for him at Daytona. Remember, there was a point where there was about 12 cars on the inside lane, and using that side draft, Warren was able to stay right up there with those guys, about 3rd or 4th in line. So Warren, another guy who we talk about always being up at the front, knows how to get around these plate tracks and knows what he needs to do to keep himself up there.
And he's very efficient with it. That was the thing that impressed me the most at Daytona, was how efficient he was. You know, how he was able to lose little time and to make people around him not lose time either. He was able to just stay there on the quarter panel, keep himself in touch, but not pull that bottom lane apart to the point where it was ineffective. So he did a really good job last week. I was really impressed with him and his capabilities, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he shakes out here about 45 laps from now.
Look on this outside lane here just in front of them as the 501 and the 12 duck to the inside line. Now Jason Papp in the 1 does the same. Those are 3 Dude Racing cars that are currently sitting up in front, the 501, the 12, and the 1. Currently occupying positions 12 through 14, as up at the front now, Cody Smith has retaken the race lead with a push from the 6 of Chris Morrell. First time we've seen him up here in the early going.
And Chris did a really good job there. He made a really good move there on that backstretch that lap to get into this position. So he did a really good, strong move. And it'll be interesting to see if this top lane, we haven't really seen it yet tonight. See if we can make it work.
Certainly looking at that is Shane Posey just staying right in touch with that outside lane in the mellow yellow number 83. 2 drivers, though, that are coming up towards them. Brody Smith in the number 24 DC Solar car, and then that Sour Patch number 18 of Shane Paul work their way right up to the front on the outside lane.
And they are moving. They were about 15th place 2 laps ago, so look how quick they got up there. They got up there at the snap of a finger, so that just shows how effective that can be. Look at that. That was a really good move.
Yeah, that was a big move by the 24 of Brody Smith to the inside lane, leaving Shane Paul out to dry on the outside, but still has that push, or still has that pull rather, from the 81 of Cruz Hernandez. So some moving and shaking going on up here at the front, but we're seeing a lot of guys towards the back getting big runs. Look at Nick Kessler and Jason Papp on the outside lane. They're going to go to the outside of the 83, trying to take that position, showing some force there.
And now all of a sudden, it's getting 3 wide and it's getting really racy. Remember, 2 laps ago, it was nice and calm. We were talking about how calm and serene it was, and now all of a sudden it looks like a hornet's nest up here.
3 wide at the 3rd row back is Bowerman and Cody Smith up at the front. As down to the inside goes Chris Worrell in the 6th. So now Worrell leads that inside line. Bowerman leading the middle. Cruz Hernandez is going to fall all the way to the back of that outside line in the number 81. And there are some heavy pushers that are up there. The 18 has been looking great as far as pushing, and we know how good the 24 and 97 are at pushing from last year. There are some major contenders up here that were taken out early last week at Daytona, as we're already 10 out of 70 laps in.
It's moving quite along, and some of these drivers have learned quite a bit in these 10 laps. I think we've seen Shane do a really good job there of learning, and along with Brody, how to get to the front very efficiently if needed. So if those two are in the back of this race later on, look for them to come forward quickly, and they can get to the front with ease just by learning from that little run there about 5 laps ago.
Riding on board with Shane Posey, see how close these guys get, especially down the straightaway. Posey starting to back off a little bit as we head into the tri-oval, now falling back off of the back bumper of the 24 of Brody Smith, still side by side. Cody Smith has gone to the outside lane in front of his teammate Bowerman. And look at the 99 of Brandon Leary. He was not a fixture up at the front at Daytona. Started in the 2nd position here today and has been right up there at the front as Ernie Ludwig bugs out.
And that looks like overheating. It wasn't like how we saw there earlier with Elijah or Adrian. He just kind of just said, all right, I'm going to scoot back here. I'm going to watch this out and maybe learn a little bit.
Some friends there in the 16 and the 75 as Byron backed off with the 16 to try to keep him in front of him, and another friendly behind that in Mark McFadden in the 71. So now a little bit of a spread here as the top 8 cars battling side by side, or top 9 cars, pardon me, battling side by side up here for the race lead, as Bowerman getting awful close to the door of Chris Worrell, trying to keep that side draft, trying to keep that momentum up.
Yeah, this top lane's done a really good job this entire run so far. This looks like that's the lane you want to be in if they can just stay organized, as we see Nick Kessler trying to establish the 3rd lane. It looks like he's going to get a little bit of help from Jason.
Yep, Jason Papp up to that outside. Brody Smith goes down to the inside, as you're seeing a couple of packs now starting to form. You got this big racing pack all the way back to about 13th position at Ryan Worley. And then from Worley on back, Brandon Wilson leading the 2nd group of cars that are running pretty much single file, just trying to cruise and clock laps here. And this is a strategy that, again, much like staying up at the front, it's a strategy that works one week and completely fails the next, as Bowerman almost hits the wall out of it.
Yeah, it's a strategy that you kind of just pray it works this time, and then sometimes it don't. It's just a matter of which strategy you use. If you roll the lucky dice and you get a 21, that's kind of the way it goes. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone in this 15th to 25th pack moves forward or can work with somebody.
They're running single file and keeping within arm's length of that front pack. 0.6 of a second right now separates that front pack from the 2nd pack. Cody and Brody Smith have now gone 1-2, drafting with each other. As the brothers Smith, as we saw a lot last year, have a lot of success working together, doing it again. Shane Paul on the inside in the 18, and Kessler takes a run to the outside line and has Jason Papp with him. And we saw that all last year as well. Jason Papp is one of those guys. He's not afraid to go to that extreme high line and try to make something work.
Frank, I just feel like I went back a week, because I swear this is the exact same combination we saw last week at the front.
Yep, certainly. It's the same combination we've seen a lot of. However, not too many multiple winners. Only Chris Worrell, who is currently still in the series, was the only multiple winner. There were 2 duplicate winners last year. Worrell was one of them. It's just like real life. It's incredibly hard to win one of these races. As Worrell right now getting a very nice push from Brandon Leary, who has completely flip-reversed his mantra from last week. Kind of hanging in the back last week. He's riding right up here at the front this week.
If it don't work, we can try the opposite system next and see if it works. And at the moment, he's definitely showing that it can work for Brandon there. He's doing a good job. Look at this push. That's incredible, actually.
He's getting a good push from Nick Kessler in the 4 as well, and Kessler about to take that push right to the back of the 99. I think the 99 might have led that lap there as they came across the line, so Kessler giving one heck of a push to Brandon Leary. As we work lap 16 here, still not a caution. The 24 of Brody Smith bugs out, and he's going to go into at least the back of this front pack here, if not into the second pack. And we see that happen a lot over the course of last season. A guy either starts to overheat or feels as though it's getting too crazy, and he'll bug out.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of pushing, trying to keep Cody at the front there. And that's a side effect of that. You do your best to try to keep that guy in front of you up in front. But as we just saw, your temps get really hot really quickly. And we could see the same here for Cody here pretty quickly. The same with Nick. If you just stay behind for too long, you're going to get too hot. And you definitely do not want to blow an engine in these things.
Certainly not. As we work in lap 17 of 70 here, pit stop should be coming soon. They're not running the full fuel tank here, as Shane Paul now goes to the back in the 18 rather. So we should be seeing pit stops coming here fairly soon. I would say in the next 5 laps or so, if memory serves me correctly, because I think it's only if I'm right, I think it's only a 70% fuel load. 75% fuel load here tonight. So yeah, we're going to be looking around lap 20 to 25 as to when we're going to be seeing these guys coming into pit lane.
So your main goal is to make it to lap 23 then. If you can split the race in thirds, and look at this pack, they're 3 wide all of a sudden. That was incredible to watch. They almost wrecked twice.
You're seeing that's Cody Smith, who is stuck in the middle of that group. 3 wide now for the race lead as the 99 of Brandon Leary is in the middle lane. Jason Papp still hugging the back end of that 4, or trying to at least, of Nick Kessler on the outside. Look at how close this is getting. 3 abreast for the race lead.
I was just about to say, this is going to start going to single file because the pit stops are coming up.
Ooh.
I was clearly wrong by that. Wow.
That was a big swipe down to the inside by Leary to take over the race lead. And Cody Smith hung out to dry in the middle again. That's Mark McFadden. He's a little bit off of the driver of the 97. And is going to go and help his teammate Ernie Ludwig on the outside line. So right now, the inside line still appears to be where everyone is most comfortable. Look at the 00 of Ryan Worley jumping and sneaking up here into the 3rd position, starting 27th.
I didn't realize that. That's okay. I didn't realize he was even up there. That's incredible how he went up that fast.
As you saw Jason Papp get into the wall going into turn 3, sort of broke up that outside line. As there's a little bit of a gap behind him and Ernie Ludwig, who's on the inside lane. Top 8 cars now are in a breakaway. Shane Posey currently leading the 2nd group with Mark McFadden, Byron Rodney, Brandon Wilson's there, Greg McConey in that as well. And they're side by side going down the back straightaway as well in that back group. 3 wide here though for 2nd.
Yeah, they realized maybe we need to start moving because this race might not get a yellow at this point. They've looked incredibly clean this far, and I can see them just potentially doing this the rest of the race. Great job by these guys.
Yep, and this is what we've gotten so used to from these guys after broadcasting last season. This is the kind of racing we got all year long as Leary and Bowerman, a virtual tie across the line. Kessler forced to bug out going into turn 1. Almost caught that wall, got about as close as you could without touching it.
And that's partially due to temperatures, plus if I had imagined we're close to that pit stop window like we discussed. So that backpack we were talking, that was 2 wide about 2 laps ago. That's kind of thinned out the single file. It's just these 3 on the top here, the 9, the 97, and the 1. That's the only people that are on that top lane, really.
Yep. Saw the 4 of Kessler try get to that bottom line as quickly as he possibly could, found an opening and got there behind Byron Rodney and ahead of Brandon Wilson, as Chris Worrell looks to that outside line, gets the push from Zach Bowerman. He will go to the lead. That will put Brian Morley in the 0-0 into the second spot on the inside line. As I would say he should have run that car last week, that Daytona USA number 9. It's working pretty good here at Talladega.
Yeah, he's done very well. I think, if our memory serves me right, his previous ride was a bit banged up all race, and he finally got a nice push there at the end. So he's done very well. We see him in a clean car finally, and he's showing what he can do with it.
Now in the arcade game, was that the, as you see Shane Posey, and Posey's going to be the only one to duck off into pit road here. Now, was the blue car in the arcade game, was that the automatic or the manual car? Because I remember there was one blue and one yellow one.
I believe it was the automatic.
So I wonder if he's sticking true to the game, though.
I doubt it.
We're working lap 23. Nate, you had mentioned 23 is the way to break this race up. So I would be expecting a good amount of cars here to try to get in as Worrell dumps to the inside. Look at Scott Warren. We saw him very vaguely in the 17th, 18th position. He's worked himself all the way up here by himself up into this front pack. A couple of cars looking down but not committing. So we go and wait for pit cycles to begin in another lap.
I think this next lap here, we're going to see about 15 cars. That's a good round, not a round number, but it's a good number to go with. Ooh. Cody doing a great job to fit that hole.
Seeing a couple of
so
guys.
That tells you we're pitting here. That's what that is. I'm pitting, get out of my way.
Yeah, there's the 77 of William Rucker, Nicholas Wing. These are guys that all came in. Ron Holmes in the 33 have come into pit road, as well as Shane Posey in the 83 have all come into pit road. And what are we going to see here? No, they're staying out again.
That didn't apply to that lap. It applies to the next lap.
You're never wrong until you're right.
Exactly.
Right now, it's only the 81 of Cruz Hernandez and the 3 of James Cato that are currently stuck on that outside line. Everyone else has gotten down to the inside line. You see Shane Posey up there, right at the very bottom of your screen. He is getting pushed, I would say, that by the 46 of Clayton White. Up ahead of them, as here we go. Now they're ducking off. Bowerman in, Leary in. Boy, Cody Smith took a big run. There's no way he didn't get a speeding penalty. Oh, and Cody's sideways in the pits.
Oh, no. Oh, they're wrecking in pit road. Look at this. You're in the grass.
Wow, that's the 12 of Greg McConey, the 90, the 09 of Adrian Moore. And we'll get a look at that here in just a moment. But my goodness, that was a wild pit entry, and for certain a penalty for the driver of the 97 as we come through 3 and 4 here with the race leaders. Would have to assume Morrell coming in this time. There's Jason Papp. Here they come. Group number 2 into pit road.
Oh,
a big slide.
Sideways. Look at that.
You talk about
that was impressive.
You talk about getting everything you possibly can on a pit road entry. Chris Worrell certainly did.
I wouldn't say that's entering the pits 101, but that was an effort right there.
No, that's now I need tires 101. It's exactly what that was. Right now it's Shane Paul coming into pit road. He's taken a big slide going into pit road, but of the drivers that came into pit on the first run, Nick Kessler is currently leading this group with Brody Smith and the 99 of Brandon Leary. As you see, there is the second group that came in. They are exiting pit road right now. And we'll we'll see where this files out. This was a big pack. The entire field was in one pack going into pit road, and typically we've seen it thin out. This looks like it thinned out quite a bit.
Yeah, it thinned out quite a bit, and these guys that are further back in the second group that pitted, they need to catch on as quickly as possible, because here's the thing, Chris and Scott, they're going to latch onto the back of this pack. They're definitely not going to stay out in front of it. They're going to get freight trained here. But it's going to be interesting to see how those guys in that second group, if they can able to latch onto the back.
Chris Worrell about to get past here as there's Nick Kessler and Brody Smith getting around Scott Warren, who finished in second last week. Chris Worrell now getting passed up by Nick Kessler. Remember, Kessler dropped right to the back off the start after Elijah Innes decided to miss the grid and start from the pit lane. Nick Kessler took over that third spot and then immediately bailed out. He is now running in the race lead, but Brody Smith and Zach Bowerman now going around him, leaving him alone on that inside lane. Ryan Worley in 00, Scott Warren on the outside, and Nicholas Wing in the 90. Nicholas Wing right now, the first car not on the lead lap in that number 90, currently running in the 26th position.
Yeah, these guys that are in this backpack, now they're just hoping for a yellow. And their best bet is literally single file, right around, no need to fight, because, I mean, really, if you fight, you're going to cause a yellow at some point if you fight hard enough. So what they need to do is they just need to kind of chill and relax, because that was a heck of a side draft there by Nick on Zach Borman.
Yeah, Brody Smith. I believe Brody Smith bugging out there, getting to the back of this pack. Look who else is up here. The driver of the 48,
he's gonna fall off the pack.
Yep, the 48 of Connor Trafari is also up here now. Connor was one of those guys that we saw up front a lot as the caution comes out. I believe it was for Mark McFadden in the 71, who is currently into pit road. And we'll try to see what happened under this caution here. And no, McFadden is currently in here. Let's try this way. And I think, unfortunately, iRacing is not going to be kind, and we're not going to be able to see it. So there is Mark McFadden on the way out of pit road now. So caution number 1 coming on lap 30 of 70. So we almost made it halfway and through a full cycle of pit stops before our first unfortunate caution of the day. And now the question is, you just came into pit, you know you're only allowed to fuel the car up to 75%. Do you come in here to top it off again?
Nope, no way. You want track position. And I don't see anyone pitting here because they've only got, 4 laps on their tires, and you can't subtract the pit stop here. You got to still make the same amount of pit stops. So if I was any one of these drivers in any of these positions, I would not be pitting here.
And
but it looks like I'm wrong.
No, they're thinking fuel strategy, and so far, right now, Nick Kessler, Brandon Leary, Ernie Ludwig, those are the only drivers that have stayed out at the moment. So only 3 drivers staying out here. Zach Bowerman already down and away, seeing some 2-tire stops, seeing some 4-tire stops. Ryan Worley out, seeing some no-tire stops. Warren took 4. Chris Worrell took 4. I think Worrell is just hanging in the box right now in that number 6. There he finally goes. So Nick Kessler, the first of the band that decided not to pit. And with that caution coming out, as I said, the number 90 of Nicholas Wing gets his lap back via the lucky dog.
That's pretty important. The lucky dog here is more important than any other track because it's easier to get to the front to get your lap back, but you can't break away. You got to be leading the pack the entire time at that point. So the lucky dog here is way more powerful than, let's just say, Martinsville or Bristol or something like that.
Now, I want to go back. I want to see what happened with the pit entry for Cody Smith. Now, it's going to take me a second to get back here. But Cody is going to come off here. Went flying into pit road. We'll see where I've picked this up. Oh, they're already wrecking here by the time I pick it up. So we'll go back a little bit further here. See what happened. Cody just goes flying into pit road and then just loses the back end of the car. There's Ryan Worley getting clipped. Connor Trafari in the box goes through, and then just the 18, the 12, and the 09 just completely lost it.
Yeah, that Shane just overcooked it, and he did a pretty good job to minimize damage other than flat out turning right and missing everything, but it was a mess on pit road there. I don't blame anyone for any incidents there because when you got that much chaos going on, it's pretty easy to get caught up in the moment.
The cars we saw there damaged, I believe Shane Paul was one of them. Here's Paul in pit road. I would have to assume trying to repair some of that damage that he sustained. Cody Smith looks like he got away from it okay. Might have a little bit of damage after getting sideswiped by the 00 of Ryan Worley, who's currently sitting in the 5th position. Then the 12 of Greg McConey was involved in that as well. And we saw the rear end damage on McConey's car. There you see that beat up right rear on the back end of that number 12. And I believe the 09 of Adrian Moore, who was our pole sitter tonight, was involved in that as well. So a decent amount of guys getting involved in that little debacle on pit road. And for Moore in the 09, his car looks pretty clean as well.
Right, a lot of people got really lucky there. I mean, you don't usually get a whole lot of damage when you wreck at 50 mile an hour. So if there's a time to wreck, it's definitely on pit road.
Be a little bit of an issue on the left front there for the 09, but doesn't look like anything to worry about, especially with what we saw Bowerman was able to compete with last week with absolutely no nose on the car. But Nate, bring him down here to start this green flag run.
Absolutely. We got a lot of different strategies that are going to be ending up playing out here. Looks like we got at least a top 12 that decided not to come in down pit road this time. It's a long ways down to the restart box here as Nick Kessler is holding them down at a nice slow 65 miles an hour. The green flag is out. He attempts to get going a little slow off the line there, and we're back on our way here at Talladega.
Side by side going into one, and Bowerman is all over the back end of Brandon Leary in the 99. Trying to get him going. Ernie Ludwig not on the back of the 4 at all going into pit road. And we saw with guys deciding to come in to top it off again just before we got going back to green. Only saw about 6 or 7 cars start on that outside lane as Bowerman and Leary go to the front. They come down in front of the 4 of Nick Kessler. And away they go.
Tight. I'm impressed that they got both of them, and I thought it was going to be just Braden. But look at this. I mean, if Zach can get this run going here on the outside, which it looks like he's just going to phase out here, and it looks like he's just going to get shuffled to the middle.
but Jason Papp will stick with him in the middle. Brandon Wilson is a teammate of that number 1, is also in the middle. The 00 on the inside, teammates with the 1. So that could be something you're looking for here, as these guys might be trying to link up, as Papp not having too much success pushing that 9, of Zach Bowerman, as the front 4 have gotten clear side by side, Byron Rodney and Zach Bowerman for the 5th position.
This bottom pack being this far forward is 100% right now due to Nick Kessler, because he is pushing the daylights out of Braden.
Right on board now, and you can just see he is right on him.
I usually don't see people push for a whole lap around here, but he's done it for at least a lap, and he's continuing. He's a little bit further off than he was that last lap, but he was literally on him for the entire lap. He's got to be running pretty warm, I'd have to say.
Yeah, and you can hear when he gives him that bump, the engine's going to jump a little bit when he gives him that bump, but you can see he is right on that 99. You can hear those RPMs jump a little bit, and Kessler actually goes down to the inside. Kessler might be going down into pit road here. He is. So Nick Kessler in the 4 dives to pit road.
I don't know the reason for that.
No, he's the only one in right now. And we've seen Kessler pull these strategies before, where he does do some odd things to try to get himself out of sync and out of cycle with the rest of the field. So if this is a strategy call from Nick Kessler, is very bold of him, because riding on board with him, it didn't look like he got shoved or moved that would have sent him into that position. It looked like he did it on his own.
If whatever strategy he's doing works, I want to know why he thought it was a great idea, because remember last week, I believe it was Nick, correct? That had the severe damage, led him to the restart, and then pitted the next lap. So maybe he knows something that we don't, and maybe the strategy worked for him. I mean, he still has to make one pit stop. It's not like he can go the rest of the way from here, though.
You see him way up there at the top of the screen in the foreground, running by himself. Now, there is a race within the race going on here as the overall race leader, Zach Bowerman, comes through. There is a battle for the Lucky Dog brewing here in this front pack. The 97 of Cody Smith is trying to battle that 71 on the inside line. As you see, they're running side by side now. That is the battle for the Lucky Dog. So if a caution were to come out right now, it would be one of those two that would end up getting that position.
That's one of the most frustrating things when you're essentially 3rd, 4th, 5th on the track, and yet if you're the second place, oh, look at that!
Wow, Cody
sideways! Oh my goodness!
Wow, Cody, what a job saving that car. And that would have given it to Dan Brazington in the 43, as that would have taken both of those guys out.
There was a lot of clenching going on behind that, I guarantee it, because he was sideways 3 different times there.
And you could see it as well, because the 81 of Cruz Hernandez was on the outside of the 97 on the back straightaway. He's fallen all the way to 11th position.
Yeah, I don't blame him, though. I mean, I would be pretty scared,
too.
You
can't.
The case, so.
And now that'll bring Nick Kessler, almost said Ryan Kessler, right winger for the Anaheim Ducks. There's your shout out. As Nick Kessler gets lapped, and pretty convincingly as well, that adds another driver into the Lucky Dog mix. And you see on screen right now Elijah Innes making his appearance up here at the front for the first time tonight, running in the 13th position. This is the highest he's been up through the field, and that's partly because he decided to start from pit lane.
Strategy, we thought, you need a quick yellow. It wasn't a quick yellow, but I mean, it's a yellow early enough to the point where you're able to mix it back in. And he's done a very good job getting back to the front. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get Elijah back up to the front and see if he can be really competitive.
I'm going to do it right now, and I promise I will not refer to it the same way again, but right in front of him, or what was right in front of him, is the number 46 of Clayton White driving the Copper Comet, as he has launched his way into the top 15, running in the 12th position right now, and that 46 is driving quick here tonight. First time we've seen him up towards the front, and now with pushers like Brody Smith and Shane Paul behind him, he could really be off and going.
You could almost say he's electrifying.
Oh, there. See, this is why I didn't want to start it. That's why I said I was only going to call him the Copper Comet once.
You throw it up and set it up like that, you got to nail it home.
Yeah, and I guess that's punishment for me as well. After, if you watch the Sim Racer's Edge broadcast, I alerted you to something that you probably wish you hadn't been alerted to, which was NASCAR Racers, an old TV show, I think from 1999. You could see a couple of full episodes on YouTube still. But you were none too pleased with me after I showed you Season 1, Episode 8, and because of that, you decided not to be in the booth with me for the Sim Racer's Edge special event.
I think it's the greatest episode ever. Let's get this straight. The fact that we have rain on ovals is incredible. They're predicting the future of NASCAR. Congrats to them. They're 25 years in the future. Eventually, we'll have rain on ovals, I bet.
Episode 3, I will say, if you would have stuck around for Episode 3 of our watch along, you would have had a better taste with that show.
About that.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, NASCAR Racers was an old kids television show from, I think it was either 98 or 99. It's basically, it was NASCAR's attempt at anime, and it was a thing. We'll put it that way. It was a thing.
Great job, NASCAR.
Zach Bowerman and Jason Papp continue to lead this race. We're a little bit past halfway here. Cody Smith right now in that number 97 as we are 3 wide for the top 6 spots. The 97 of Cody Smith again, not in this battle for position. He currently holds the lucky dog spot, running in the 26th position up here after after spinning out going into pit road and then getting a speeding penalty, then spinning out on pit road. So 97 has had some issues here tonight. As boy, did you see that move that Greg McConey made swinging down? Yeah. 75 and Byron Rodney.
This is tight. This is tight. This is
tight. Oh, there goes Cody.
They're gone.
Wrecking down the back straightaway. Byron Rodney's in it. The 4 of Nick Kessler. Clearly the caution is out. Jesse Cottrell just does get through it. Oh, the 43.
Oh, crazy.
Just caught the end of it. And that will be caution number 2. Double click there. There we are. We'll try to get a better view of that than what we had here live, but there was a healthy amount of guys involved in that. And it started up towards the front with Cody Smith, and we're going to see overhead. What happened here is there's Cruz Hernandez behind him, and it looks as though that 97 tried to sneak into a hole that he couldn't fit in. And that's what caused that. Back up again. There's Greg McConey. He's going to be getting involved in this. Is the 4 of Kessler. The 71 of McFadden does a great job. The 67 had nowhere to go. Neither did GT Park. 18 looked as though he got a little bit of damage from that. as they head away. Let's see if we could see what Greg McConey saw coming out of turn 2, and you can see that 97 getting wild and just right in front. And unfortunately, that's all, well, not all she wrote. That's how quick it can happen.
A lot of good drivers taken out there. Yeah, that was quick. One driver's mistake and took out, what, 15 cars almost.
As under caution for the second time, one driver decided not to pit, and that is this man right here, the number 79 of Austin Rucker, so he will get a lap-led bonus point. As Zach Bowerman wins the race off of pit road. And with that, we will take a quick break here, and we will be right back for the restart after caution number 2 here at Talladega. Don't go anywhere. Tonight's broadcast of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series is sponsored by DiecastNuts.com. Post your own diecast collection, add or trade to it in the shop, and see other members' collections at DiecastNuts.com and on Facebook at DiecastNuts. And by Rocket Racing Setups. Rocket Racing Setups is one of the leading setup builders for the iRacing community. Find dirt and asphalt setups, tuning guides, fuel sheets, and much more at RocketRacingSetups.com today. Tonight's race is also brought to you by the series sponsors Circle B Diecast, Midwest Motor Customs, iRacing iFlag, and Butt Kicker that you've seen down there at the bottom left of your screen. So as you saw during that break, a couple of guys deciding to come in with the potential race leader, Zach Bowerman leading them down. Guys trying to top off the fuel tanks because we are at that window as to whether or not you can and cannot make it from here on fuel the rest of the way. Pace car ducks off Ryan Worley, for the first time, will lead them down. His teammate Jason Papp on the outside. And after that wreck, we're seeing something like we saw at Daytona last week, where some big names taken out of that. One of the more notable ones is Cody Smith. We are back to green flag racing here. 23 laps to go here at Talladega.
And there are a lot more people on the bottom lane, but look how spread out this field got so quickly. That is incredible. Usually you don't see them get spread out that fast.
And that's a testament to how many damaged cars are all spread out through this field. Saw Cody Smith was right up there with these guys. To update you, Mark McFadden here in the 71, he was the lucky dog recipient because the leader in the lucky dog race, which was the 97 Cody Smith, was a part of that accident. So the 71 of Mark McFadden gets the lucky dog, as up here we are side by side, first through sixth, Posey through Gene Cato in the 08.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty fast here. If I had to imagine, this top lane needs to develop a little bit more. And they're doing a good job with the three that they had there currently, but you need more drivers up there to work it. So it'll be interesting to see, with a lot less clean cars, if this top lane does develop throughout this race even further.
I was just going to say that now, with all of these damaged cars that are spread out all throughout the field, there is some time that they need to try to sort themselves out as Jason Papp turns the 83 down into, I believe that was the 16 of Ernie Ludwig. Everybody keeps it straight, and a disaster averted. Not quite, as the 08 of Gene Cato hit hard on the outside wall. Caution is out, the 81 flipping through the infield.
That was just chaos, uncontrolled chaos there, and that's just a side effect of being disorganized and kind of just trying to make moves.
Boy, and that was a really hard hit that both of those drivers took to that outside wall in the tri-oval, as they wrecked a little bit later than we thought they were going to. But it was this big hit by Gene Cato. Oh my goodness, they both hit hard.
I gotta think that Hernandez just totally did not hear low, because I wouldn't imagine you make that move if you have someone below you. I gotta imagine that he was probably just there long enough to the point where your mind just forgets that somebody's there.
He got hit several times. I think GT Park caught him. James Cato caught him as well.
Surprised I didn't catch him.
There's Byron. And we'll get to Byron here really quick. What happened from your point of view in that big wreck that brought out the last caution?
All I noticed was cars turning in front of me. I got on the binders, and the next thing you know, I got turned, and then I got hit. I was able to spin a perfect 360, point it straight, kept going forward, and then after that, I was down a cylinder. I brought it to the pit lane. I had mandatory repairs over 4 minutes, and out of respect for these guys in this league and the drivers that are here, they let me race with them sometimes when I'm home to be able to do this. But I'm not going to be, quote unquote, that guy. So I'm not going to run a slow car around and be a roadblock for him. I just went ahead and parked it on the hauler.
What was the racing like out there tonight? We saw a lot of moving around, a lot of what appeared to be close calls and close encounters. What was it like from your point of view out there all night?
I was able to keep it up around the top, 5 to top 10 and running that lead pack the whole time. And it was getting a little dicey, at times a little squirrely. I was looking at 3 wide in front of me going around Talladega. Thank God it's Talladega, not Daytona. 3 wide works a little better here. But it was getting a little squirrely. Guys were, backing out, dropping to the back of the pack. I was holding in that top 10, and I knew if I could just stay up there and those guys not get too squirrely, we'd have a shot with it after the last pit stop. We're getting about 24 to 26 laps out of a tank of fuel on this run, so Anything after lap 45, your money stop, you're golden. You don't need to make it to the pits again.
And we're seeing that right now as we are about a lap away from going green. When do you think the next time you might be able to run one of these is, Byron?
You'll hopefully be able to do it.
I think we may have missed all of that, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, my connection, it's loading up. Everyone's watching Netflix on a Friday night. Next time I'm home on a Friday night. I enjoy running the super speedways. I enjoy putting the PH Aware number 75 out there. And, the Autism Awareness 75 tonight. And these guys are gracious enough to let me come and race with them. And like I said, out of respect, I got a car down on power. I'm not going to be a rolling roadblock for the winners of this race. I'm going to park it on the hauler.
All right. Thank you very much, Byron. We'll let you go and enjoy the rest of
off to Daytona practice.
Exactly, that too.
All right, guys. Have a great broadcast. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too as well. There's one of our broadcast partners, Byron Rodney, in the booth with us here to walk us through what happened in the caution prior to this one. As we get ready to rack 'em and go again after caution number 3 here tonight, Ryan Worley and Ernie Ludwig the top. And I would have to assume, Nate, that this restart here is going to be a little bit better than the last one as far as being able to stay in a pack, because these guys, they've siphoned out a lot of the drivers that were slower and were damaged with the 2 or 3 laps they were able to run on that last run. So now, they might be able to stay a little bit closer this time.
Absolutely. And plus the fact the past caution there, a lot of the field was in this bottom lane. This restart looks like a lot of them were on the top. So I would imagine that this restart is going to be a little bit cleaner, a little bit more organized. We're going to see a little bit more of a pack this actual restart. Plus the fact that nobody's going to want to drop to the back from here on out. We're 18 to go. It's time to start thinking about moving forward, and these guys are going to do that.
Exactly right. As coming down to the end of these races always gets incredibly interesting, to say the least. As you saw our upcoming schedule down there on the bottom corner, what that schedule neglected to show was that there will be, I will be broadcasting the 24-hour race for VSM tomorrow night, starting at around 8:15, 8:15 or so in the morning tomorrow. We'll go a couple of hours to open up that race, and then we'll catch it back again for the finale of the race if VSM is fortunate enough to make it that far. So we will see you guys at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. As a guy who usually doesn't get up until about 10:30, I'm really looking forward to that. As Ryan Worley leads them down here for the restart. Ryan Worley and Ernie Ludwig. There's your run to the green flag. 18 laps to go.
Ernie go in front? No, Ernie does not go in front. I'm about to say Ryan did not get a great start there, but that's probably by design, because look at this run here. All by Jason, just giving him a nice little push there.
Jason Papp has been giving out great pushes all night long, and you see who's behind him, Scott Warren in the 17. Haven't spoken about him at all here tonight, but he is emerging just as the way he did at Daytona last week as one of the favorites. That 17 is going to be hard to beat.
I know Pat likes to play his Jaws music whenever he does a broadcast, and I think that's kind of the music that should be playing right now, because look at this run here. He's getting a great run with Braden Leary there.
Yep, Leary goes to the outside with Scott Warren. He saw what happened with Warren last week, side by side at the line, as I believe that might have been the Canadian Warren leading that lap. He goes right to the inside. Thank you, Leary. I'm going to use you and then dump you, as the 17 goes right to the lead.
That's a note for Braden there. okay, Scott just dumped me after I helped him out. So if we get to 1 to go, I'm not going to help him out. So you gotta make friends when you're at plate races. You can't make way too many enemies.
Ernie Ludwig pushing the heck out of Brandon Leary on that outside line. The 09, the pole sitter of Adrian Moore, is there as well. Still hovering around the front here. Zach Bowerman, Connor Trafari has found his way up into this front pack. Also, look who else has found his way up into that front pack. The race winner last week, Elijah Ennis, the 12th of these 12 cars up here in the front.
If you're in the hunt, you just want to be in like the top 10 in the stage of the race. You don't want to be further back because then you really are compromised. So if you're in this top 10, you got room to move. You got room to go forward. So this is probably the prime area where you want to be at right now, where Elijah's at.
Leary getting a really good push up at the front by Ernie Ludwig. Still can't push him to the lead as that outside line starting to break up a little bit as Zach Bowerman moves to the outside to try to make a third lane and successfully does. Brandon Wilson leaves him out to dry. Look at that, 4 abreast coming across the start-finish line as Ludwig moves to the outside behind outside of Brandon Leary, or tried to get to the outside of Brandon Leary. It just looks as though there are some guys, we talk about it every week, there are some guys who are better at pushing, there are some guys better at leading. It looks as though Leary is a better pusher than a leader.
Ernie there at the finish line, he was like, I want to be the lead guy. And they were like, no, we're passing you. And Ernie's like, I want to be the lead guy. And that's why we saw that almost all the way to the wall there. Ernie just wanted to lead.
Well, we almost had another spin there as the 99 with a little bit of a corner hit to the left rear of the 1 of Jason Papp as Papp tries to go for the lead. He gets that push from the 99, just as I said. Every time that 99 gets in a position to where he can push, he's golden. The guys in front of him start moving forward. However, when he's leading a pack, that car just does not seem to want to go forward.
Yeah, some people just are naturally better at pushing. Some people are naturally better at leading the pack. And Brandon looks like he's one of those guys that he's more comfortable in the position of pushing somebody. So I don't imagine him wanting to lead coming to the final lap. I'm sure he wants to be in second place.
Blinks out for a second there. Adrian Moore coming up behind him with the 501 of Brandon Wilson, who won a race at Talladega last season. Here for the iRacing East Superspeedway Series. Connor Trafari on that outside trying to keep up with Zach Bowerman in that third lane. Ernie Ludwig in that third lane as well on the outside as a couple more cars coming up into this group. We were talking about Nicholas Wing being up in the lead pack in that Simcoe number 90 Ford, but being a lap down, he is for position now up into the 14th spot. So a nice showing and a nice recovery from the 90 of Nicholas Wing.
Zach can make this top lane work really well if he just gets a little closer to Adrian. That's all he needs to do. Just use that side draft just a little bit in order to just pull you along. And at the moment, they're doing really well in that top lane as they get a nice run here, but they could be doing better.
That middle lane right now with 4 cars. Jason Papp leading the middle lane. Scott Warren still leading the race on the inside lane. Just Bowerman and Trafari on that outside. As we now have a 15-car break at the front of the field. Not sure who that was we just saw up at the front here. That might be the 62, I think, or the 67 of Joe Gauthier. It is the 67. We're seeing 3 wide going into turn 3. 12 laps to go. A lot of wiggling, a lot of moving, but nothing really threatening as far as, oh, there's going to be a wreck here in a second.
Yeah, they're driving nice and calm for the moment. There's 10 laps to go. They're just saying, oh, how are you doing? Are you ready to go forward? Oh, you're ready to go forward? I don't want to go forward yet. Do you? No? Oh, okay. And they're just playing mind games at this point, trying to figure out who's more aggressive. And at the moment, nobody's looking really aggressive.
We've been talking about new guys up here at the front that we haven't seen all race long. Connor Trafari, Elijah Ennis, Zishan Dwera is up here as well. Now this is the first time we've spoken his name since the grid. And one guy who we're seeing now back up here at the front is that 6, the third car on the inside lane of Chris Worrell, doing one heck of a job getting himself back up here after falling back in the pit stops.
Yeah, that third lane kind of fizzled out, and now this top lane looks really strong as well. So really, at the moment, it's a toss-up between which lane works. The bottom lane works half the time, the top lane works better the other time, as this top lane all of a sudden got broken up there.
As there is Brandon Leary on that outside, Adrian Moore shuffles him out. And a lot of moving, a lot of wiggling, especially out of that 09 of Adrian Moore. As they head down into turn number 3, Scott Warren still leading this race, and Brandon Leary has fallen right to the back of this group now.
And it's not over for him, though. I mean, you got 8 laps to go. You have time to move forward still. So anyone in this front pack can realistically win this race.
Absolutely can. As there goes Chris Worrell. Just mentioned him. Goes to the outside line. Guarantee he's going to come right down in front of the 17. The second he gets the opening was the third car on that inside lane. Now leading that outside. He's one of those guys that's good at doing both, leading and pushing. And the 6, again, as I mentioned before, one of the duplicate winners last season. He knows what it takes to win around here. Just got to find the luck, got to find the push, and right now he's got both.
The first and second place guys last week, Elijah and Adrian, they both had almost a little moment there. Elijah was trying to make a run, and Adrian kind of threw a little flick up there saying nope, and then Elijah got shuffled right to the back.
Elijah Innes right at the back of that group in the number 68. You see Greg McConey getting lapped in the number 12. McConey's been involved in a couple of incidents tonight. And if you look just off the back of the top 15, there is a 2-car group. There's the 71 of Mark McFadden and the 3 of James Cato. Now, James Cato won at Daytona last year, won the money race at Daytona last year. So he knows what it takes to win with these guys. And Mark McFadden got a little bit of damage off of that last wreck. They are still just right in that hunt, trying to catch back up to the lead pack. And right now, it's working. They're getting one heck of a suck-up. This is going to be a 17-car pack for the race win here as we come to 7 to go.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not trying. They finally caught this pack, and they've been working it for about 5 laps. I've been watching them nice and slowly. They've been working together. They've run the fastest laps of the race so far for themselves, and they're doing quite well.
And now the 3 of James Cato can afford to jump off the back of the 71 just a little bit, try to cool that engine down as the 71 has the draft of this lead pack. And reckon. The 99 of Brandon Leary, caution is out. The 16 of Ernie Ludwig, and I believe that was the 501 of Brandon Wilson. It was. Caution out for the 3rd time tonight.
And that just looked like a case of trying to get air in a big pack. There's not a lot of clean air, so you're trying to get every ounce of air that you can get in the car, and it looks like just a slight miscalculation was all it was.
There they go. Wow, Nicholas Wayne just splitting through that. Try to get to it again here. Yep, there they go. Ernie Ludwig down there at the bottom. Brandon Wilson a little bit further down the road. As we are under caution for the 4th time tonight. Here at Talladega, Chris Worrell was scored as the race leader when the caution came out. So Worrell has worked himself right up to the lead, and now's the question, is Worrell the sitting duck here of do I come in or do I do the opposite of what the leader does?
Hey, you're staying out. If they pit here, I don't know why you'd pit here. I mean, these guys have had enough yellows to make it if it's a green-white checkered, but I'm not them, like I've said before, because it seems like I haven't got some of the strategies right tonight so far.
Well, They are. You got this one right, though, as Worrell decides to stay out and the rest of the field does the same. Now, there were a vast majority of these guys, and we'll throw the graphic up here on the screen. The last time these guys came down into pit road, for the top 5, it was lap 50, 46, 45, 45, and 50. So for guys like Worrell and Bowerman, they're good to go, but the question is, how much do you have to save in order to secure the fact that you're going to have enough fuel if this race goes to a green-white checker?
Or 2. I mean, yeah, it's a very possibility that we could have 2 green-white checkers as well, because they do 2 green-white checkers here. So you got to plan for the absolute worst-case scenario when it comes to fuel, especially here. And I think some of them are close. I think guys that are fit on lap 46, like Scott, Jason, Ryan, they're close. I think Chris and Zach, they're a lot better shape than everyone else is though.
Bowerman slowing down just a little bit, getting onto that apron a little bit flatter, trying to keep fuel in the pickup. And yes, these cars will sputter on a restart just as they would in real life. And we'll go now, while we have the extra second here, we'll go and we'll take a proper look at our upcoming schedule. Again, tomorrow morning I will be covering the VS at the start of the 24 Hours of Daytona for VSM Racing. Right here, the broadcast will start around 8:20 or so, 8:25. In the morning, we'll run about 3 or 4 hours. We might do another one midday, depending upon where the drivers are, and then we'll go for the last 2 or 3 hours of the finish. But one broadcast that I know for certain we will have is Tuesday night with the Western States race at Richmond. Then on Thursday night, we have the USRA Cup Series at Dover, starting at 7:55, and then starting at 7:50. Then at 8:50, starting right after that, is the Dirty Old Bastards 410 Dirt Series. They will start their season up at Volusia in the 410 sprint cars. Sam Cooper Bennett will be in the booth for that. And then next Friday night, the iRacing East Series will be at the newly minted iRacing Superspeedway for their first run there in the Xfinity cars. And Nate, your eyes lit up when I told you that before the race started.
I have no idea how that race will turn out. I mean, 3 miles, massive banking. Nobody really knows how to race there, so that'll be interesting to see how that race does. I'm very curious to see how that race plays out.
From what I've seen and from what I've done driving it, you have to drive it like an oval to where you're on the inside, and then for the straightaways you jump to the outside line. But one of the craziest parts about that track, the turns are 7 lanes wide. I mean, that is a recipe for pure and utter chaos. And they are going to do 70 laps there next Friday night in the Xfinity cars, which is not one of the easier cars to drive.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's a pretty difficult car to drive in its own respect. So throwing them on, I'm not even sure how many degrees of banking it is there, but it's a lot more than here for sure.
It's
and
about
it'll
90.
be definitely interesting to see how that works.
It's about
It
90.
almost feels like 90.
So the next 3 races we have here for the iRacing East Superspeedway Series is going to be next Friday night, the iRacing Superspeedway. That's going to be a debut, so you're not going to want to miss that. Then on the 5th, it is going to be Daytona in the Xfinity cars. Then they have Valentine's Day weekend off, which would be the 12th, the Friday the 12th of February. And then they're back at it on the 19th here at Talladega in the ARCA cars. So that's going to be another fun race. And then they get into the trucks at the end of February and into March. So Nate, possibly for the last time, 3 to go. Bring them down.
Just like he said, 3 laps to go, and this could be the most important 3 laps of this entire race. Chris Worrell We haven't seen him lead a restart yet, but he's going to lead him this time. Let's see how he does. The green flag is out. We're back underway, and he's got probably one of the best pushers in the field tonight we've seen. Jason Papp helping him behind. Oh, they're wrecking already.
Yep, there they go. And that's going to be the caution, and that is going to be a green-white checkered finish. Oh, no, the Copper Comet.
Oh, no. He got shorted out.
It's looking like a Copper modified now. John LeBombard, you see him still trying to figure it out. And that could be just a case of, we'll go to it now, but that could be just a case of guys getting sorted out. I think the 3 might have given the 46 a shot going into turn 1 on that restart. We'll try to see again here what happens. Yep, just a little bit of a nudge from the 3 sent them sideways. And that was all she wrote. And unfortunately for Jesse Cottrell and the 33, my goodness, of Ron Holmes. Those guys had a couple of big hits. Holmes got stuck in the wall on the outside.
You don't see that very often anymore in iRacing. So that's pretty incredible.
I don't see that in real life either. So we know now we will have a green-white checkered finish. And that means guys like Warren, Papp, Worley, Adrian Moore, those guys are going to be on pins and needles now because they came in 5 laps earlier than anybody else running around them. So this could get tricky for those guys.
Yeah, so this race will be approximately, if my math is correct, plus 3 laps than the scheduled distance.
73, 74, yeah.
Something like that. So if they get another yellow, as they're like on the white flag coming to the green, or the white flag, they're in trouble. And everyone's almost in trouble by that point on fuel. So it'll be interesting to see how this race, if they can save enough fuel. I'm pretty sure I'd hope, if I was Chris and if I was Ryan, I hope, or Scott as well, I'd hope I'd be saving fuel.
So let's see if we can jump on board with Scott and see if we can hear if he's clutching it or not. You can see the RPM counter on the digital display. So the 17 is not clutching it. Nor is Jason Papp. Ryan Worley, maybe? No, he's not either. This is one of those situations where I would have it in 4th gear and clutch it right up until maybe coming out of turn 4, coming to take the green.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing too. I'd be on the apron. If I had the ignition button bind or a switch, I'd be using that at the moment. It looks like there's quite a bit of people towards the back maybe doing that strategy though, but we're up here in the booth. We have the disadvantage of not in their cars thinking what they're thinking, so we kind of just have to put on our tinfoil hat sometimes and just kind of hope that we're right.
The good news is that we will talk to 3 guys tonight to see what they were doing, and Nate, you're going to have the winner here tonight of this race, no matter who it may be. And we've seen crazy finishes here at Talladega on a green-white checkered, and there are more damaged cars in this race right now. But round 3 last year, and we're showing Greg McConey right now because the position that he's running in is P18. It was from 18th position last year in round 3 here at Talladega in the Xfinity cars, where Femi Olat came out on a green-white checkered and won here last year. So just because you're in the top, 15 after that day, doesn't mean you're guaranteed a win here.
I can assure you, if Greg McConey wins this race,
he's gonna be the most.
I'm not sure what. I don't even know what I would do in order to suppress that. Everyone would have to wreck because he's got a pretty severely damaged car.
Yes.
That would be an incredible way to win this race if he was able to do it.
And speaking of Femi Olat, we haven't seen him. I think he maybe ran 1 or 2 races with the iRacing East Series after that win at Talladega last year. Actually just signed up with Gibbs Esports. He'll be driving one of the Gibbs cars, I think the 18, in the Coca-Cola Series this season. So good luck to Femi on that.
That's a big accomplishment to do regardless. Qualify and have an actual real-life team, gauge support for you, support your career like that. So that's really, congrats to Femi. We hope he's well, wish him well. There's a lot of people that I know that are actually doing quite well. Garrett Maines is another one we've seen here on ESPN who's also going to be a part of that as well.
So there's quite a few drivers. And there are a couple of guys whose iRating we've seen that are right up there close to it. I know Daniel Falkingham pops into this series every now and again. He's hovering around a 4,000 or 5,000 iRating. As you see Elijah Innes take out the pit exit cone.
Let's have justice for the blue cone there.
Yeah, there it is. As we get set to go back racing, it'll be Chris Worrell, Scott Warren the front row. Jason Papp and Ryan Worley make up row 2. Zach Bowerman and Adrian Moore in row 3. Row 4 is going to be Zashawn Dwera and Connor Trafari. So teammates in row 4. Row 5 is going to be Elijah Innes, who's teammates with both drivers in row 4. And the 90 of Nicholas Wing. They round out the top 10. A couple of guys that we saw that were good pushers here tonight. Shane Paul is up there in the 18 car. He's in 14th and 24. Brody Smith is up here as well. So there are guys that have a chance still in the back that can win this race. As the pace truck ducks off, these guys just have a little bit longer to think about it here as Chris Worrell brings them down for the first attempt at a green-white checkered here at Talladega. Our first attempt at a green-white checkered in the iRacing East Series this season. It is Worrell and Warren being pushed by Papp and Worley. We are green flag racing yet again. Green-white checkered scenario.
That's a good run from the inside lane there. No real drama yet so far, but that was an excellent restart there by the 24, Brody Smith. Look at him go.
Yep, he got up and out there. Nicholas Wing ducked to the inside line to cover off. That's the 83 of Shane Posey, side by side, coming down the back straightaway. Here on the final lap, look at Elijah Innes move to the outside in that Rexona Toyota. And Scott Warren on that outside getting pushed. 2 dude racing cars in the pushing row. The 1 and the 00, both teammates pushing cars that are not necessarily teammates.
The third lane is going to start. It doesn't matter if they get there, though. The white flag's going to fly, and they're going to be able to race back to the line.
Boy, Elijah Innes is looking great here to win another race. He has Brody Smith pushing him and pushing him right up to the race lead. Coming up 3 wide, running for second place now, running for the lead. We're 3 wide, the top 9 cars. Worrell on the inside. Elijah Innes up at the front on the outside. Is he going to come down? Yes, he is. Cuts off Scott Warren in the middle lane. Now Warren's going to have to try to push him. Warren now relegated to the second car in the middle lane. Chris Worrell and Warren as Worley goes around in the background. Wrecking again, Elijah Innes. And to the line, it is going to be Chris Worrell as more wrecks happen behind them. Chris Worrell wins round number 2 of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series season. What a drive from the driver of the number 6 as he is wiggling that car in excitement.
He deserves to. That was an incredible finish there. We almost thought that it was going to be one of the other 2 guys that were in the lanes above him. It was either going to be maybe Scott there or maybe it was going to be Elijah. It just turned out He was in the right place at the right time, Chris was.
On that inside lane, sometimes it's the safest place to be on the racetrack. There's Elijah Innes, who almost had his second consecutive win. We'll go over top and see what happened here. As boy, he made a gutsy move going down into the middle lane, going into turn 3. And you can see both guys pushing. Brody Smith spins out Ryan Worley. And it looks like Bowerman gave Pap a little bit of an off-color push. And that's what started the big wreck after Worley's spin. But the top 3, as you're seeing off of the back end of Worrell's number 6, there he is. The race winner here tonight. And what a run for him. The top 3 were Chris Worrell, Zach Bowerman, and Adrian Moore, finishing 3rd place for the 2nd race in a row. These interviews are going to be fun and interesting here. I can tell you that much.
I know.
So we're going to get these guys in now, or attempt to at least. As working on getting these guys down into the interview room. And Nate, just again, another incredible race that we saw here tonight. Just
that was
so
incredible.
much fun.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Yeah, that was an incredible last lap. I mean, 3 wide, down the backstretch. That's all you can ask for, especially when you watch these races. You know, our job is to show you the best of iRacing, and hopefully that finish there was some of the best stuff that you can watch. I mean, 3 wide down the backstretch, Elijah and Brody doing that awesome push from, they were about 10th place. I think Brody was further back on that restart there, actually. You know, that's incredible. Congrats to, you know, Chris for winning the race, of course, but an incredible finish. We're glad that we brought it to you here on ESPN.
We're going to get you to your race winner here, Chris Worrell. Nate, you're with him.
And it's Nate up here in the ESPN booth. Chris, you got a copy?
What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up?
Sound like a happy guy. I think you have every right to be there.
Yeah, man.
Talk us through that last lap there. I mean, you were on the bottom. You almost looked like it was going to be difficult there, and then coming through the tri-oval. What was your reaction when Elijah spun into your door? Did you think it was over there?
All I could think was turn hard left, just in case if I get hooked in the back right, and get hooked there. So I just took a hard left, just like I did avoiding a wreck earlier in the race. I was lucky to get through that, to be honest with you. But when Cody got wrecked, but yeah, man, I saw him wrecking, and I just turned hard left. I felt it clip me, and I just stayed in the gas and was lucky enough to get to the finish line.
Absolutely, and it looked like throughout the night you were at the front. We never really saw you in the back at all. How was the racing for you tonight? We heard from Byron Rodney earlier about how the racing was for him, how it was a little chaotic in that first part of the race. What was your reaction to the race at the front?
Oh, man. First off, I'm lucky I didn't get that black flag on pit road. I almost got speeding there. I was sideways going into pits and was able to get through with that and be able to almost lead that lap, too, coming back around once I got out of the pit. So, I felt like I was, having some good luck, from there on out. And then when Cody got turned on the back there on the back stretch, I saw him turn it into me. I just dipped it to the bottom, and I should have been involved with that wreck. Got lucky there too. So I don't know. It's been a wild one. I didn't have any teammates. It's the first time I haven't had teammates during a season. So I've been out there asking everybody if they help me out and everything. I told Jason at the end. I told him if he got me to turn 4, on the white flag lap, that I wouldn't block him. I was just trying to get a good finish, but thankfully we were 3 wide, so he didn't have the chance to go around me. So he pushed me to the win before he got taken out there. But yeah, it was a fun race. It was pretty wild.
Well, even though you have no teammates here tonight, it sounds like you made a lot of friends out on the racetrack. Speaking of that, we're going to iRacing Superspeedway next week.
Oh,
Track
cool.
nobody's really gone to in iRacing in a league aspect. What is your expectations for that?
Just complete carnage. Everybody wrecking and flipping. I think I'm gonna just try to chill in the back and just get through it. To be there at the end, and I think I'll have a good shot at it. But I haven't ran many races there. I do know it's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure. I know it's gonna be pretty fast and pretty exciting. I'm hoping and get hooked up with a couple teams. Maybe they can because I feel like we're gonna have to have a lot of teamwork next week to win that one. Because the draft is just so important there, or so big, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I'm excited for it. It should be fun.
Absolutely. So we cap off a really exciting night here on ESPN. Is there anyone you would like to thank here for your exciting first place finish?
Jason, Jason Pat. First off, he runs the league. Appreciate everything you do, man. He got me there. He pushed me and got me there at the end. I hate that he was right there. He had a good second, third place finish for sure. I'm not sure where he finished. I hope he was able to get something good out of that. But I like to thank him for getting me there. My teammates, Balls Out Racing. Wish you guys were here. A couple of them are doing 24 hours right now at Daytona. So good luck to them right now. But other than that, I'd like to thank the Circle B Diecast group, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, and that's about it. That's all I can think of. And you guys put it on a great broadcast. I love going back and listening to the replays of these things. Y'all do a great job, and y'all make it really interesting. So can't wait to watch this.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Hopefully, we conveyed how exciting of a race it was to broadcast as well. Chris, Laurel, congratulations on your first place victory. We shall
Thank
see
you,
you
sir.
next week.
Thanks, Nate. Y'all have a good night.
You as well.
All right, so there was your race winner, Chris Worrell. I do apologize if you heard my phone call back there. that was kind of an important phone call that I needed to take at that point. So I do apologize if you heard that. But right now we are going to go to our second place finisher here tonight. That would be the man, the myth, the Daytona USA. Oh, put the wrong one in. My apologies. Sorry, Adrian. Zach Bowerman in here now. Your second place finisher tonight. Zach, what a run. You proved you showed Daytona USA proud.
Oh yeah, this thing was my childhood in arcades, and I was just scrolling. I was like, I kind of want to spice it up tonight, and it just caught my eye, and I was like, oh baby, need to change the fortunes a little bit. So yeah, did the job.
It certainly did. Now, I believe if Nate and I were correct earlier, that was the car that they used for automatic in the arcade game. Were you running automatic tonight to keep the to keep it going?
I mean, yeah, this thing was on rails, so yeah, it had a mind of its own. I'm glad. I kind of switched up my mentality for these races, where I try to just kind of chill in the back a little bit, and you're kind of at the mercy of everyone else in those circumstances. So just took it by the horns tonight. Just try to stay up front, better view, looks nice out there. I might keep up with that.
That last run, what did you see? I believe if I remember right, it's so much happened on that last run. I believe you were in the middle. What did you see coming to the line there as chaos broke out around you?
So believe it or not, I was third on the bottom.
No,
So
that's right.
I started, I think it's fifth. So it was the sixth, the one were in front of me, and we were just nose to tail the whole time. I didn't really see much because I was just pushing Jason as hard as I could. I could see glimpses, especially kind of on the banking. There was a third lane formed up, and I'm talking to Brody because I knew Brody was up there. I was like, "Hey, man, you probably won this," because they were in the right position, but just ran out of steam. I'm kind of shocked we wrecked. I really thought we were gonna make it to the end, and I was gonna happily take my 0x and like a 7th, 8th place finish. but I got a 1x for car contact, which I don't think I've ever seen before. So I point, but I made it up with a few positions, and I think Chris pipped me in the laps led department. So bummed to lose those 5 points, but I mean, any week we can talk to you guys, it's a successful week.
And certainly with the way the championship ended last year, those 5 points certainly could mean a lot.
Try to that when that time comes that I just missed out on those.
Going into next week, it's the Xfinity cars, which is one of the harder cars to drive, not as hard as the trucks. But going to the iRacing Superspeedway, it'll be the first time the iRacing Superspeedway is going to be broadcast on ESPN, and I'm sure for you guys it's also definitely the first time in a league setting that you guys will be there. What are your thoughts going into the big 4-mile oval Superspeedway thing?
Yeah, they're certainly feeding us to the wolves with that. I mean, I feel like all of us should go in with the mentality of if we get wrecked, we get wrecked. It's whatever. Try to have fun. Don't get too stressed with it. I think it's going to be an absolute nightmare. But I really think kind of similar. I don't think it's any dissimilar from Daytona and Talladega, where being up front, being in front of the mayhem is where you really want to be, and just getting to the end is vital. But I'm just going to try to have fun with it. I'm not going to have a strategy. I don't want to get too angry when things don't go my way, because they more than likely will not. But we have a great group of guys. So yeah, I trust them. It should be a fun one.
Especially in super speedway racing. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate your podium finish?
Yeah, for sure. Cody, Brody, great guys to work with. They when they keep it down, keep their emotions in check, it's a great night for all. They're some of they race with their heart. I love it, but sometimes it's just got to mellow out. It's best for all of us. And then we got Circle B, the iFlag, Buck Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs. A lot of these guys, they've been here since we started out a little over 2 years ago. So I love it. I'll say it every week. The more we keep doing this, the more support we get, the more we can grow and keep doing it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad they stick with us. And I love this field. It was a great race tonight. A couple unfortunate wrecks, but we all bash each other quite a bit, but I think we should give ourselves a little bit of credit, because we've all gotten to grow and be comfortable around one another.
Yeah, that absolutely was the case and put on display here tonight. There's your second place finisher, Zach Bowerman. Zach, bud, congratulations.
Yeah, grab your popcorn next week. It should be a fun one.
It certainly is what we are expecting. Now we'll go to our third place finisher. We brought him in here just a second ago, but this time it's going to be for real. We'll bring in now Adrian Moore, who finishes third position once again, but now has the points lead. Nate, you're with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian, Nate in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, you're doing really well. You started lap 73 coming out of turn 4 in the 9th position. You ended the lap third. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I was really upset I was in the middle. I had a damaged car, so I wasn't going to try to lead. But I was really hoping to push someone. And I was waiting for Ryan to make a move so I could stay with him. We got stuck in the middle, and I was just hoping for a top 10 at that point. And all hell broke loose. And, I was pretty much able to drive a straight line and stay in the gas and watch everyone else move around me. I still, coming out of the trial, I was like, I'm going to get 5th, and that's pretty awesome. And somehow I ended up talking to you guys again. So it's always a good night.
Absolutely. I mean, you just mentioned earlier about your damage. We saw your incident on pit road. Talk us through that. It looked like a lot of chaos there when that happened.
Yeah, so I started off on the pole, and lap 2, I wanted to lead a lap so I get that extra bonus point. And I dropped back to the back, and I was the very last car hanging on to the pack, and I was very happy with that. And then down the pit road, I got woed down well, and then next thing I knew, someone sideways, and Greg had nowhere to go, but he moved over, and I was trying to move over, but I just didn't do it quick enough. So got some damage. I had a minute and a half worth of repairs, so I really didn't think I was going to be able to keep up or be a pusher. But I saw on the broadcast that once they fixed it, it didn't look too bad. So yeah, it was a tough one. It's tough when your strategy is to be in the back, which I have twice in a row and still get wrecked. So anyway, maybe next week I'll just stay up front.
There you go. I mean, you mentioned earlier how you talked to us again. What's the key to your success so far? I mean, I know you mentioned that you've been caught up in incidents, but is it just luck or is there something to it?
Yeah, last week it was making a good move. I went up the outside when no one else would to push Elijah, and then this week it was just I was in the absolute worst place you could be, and it just lucked my way into a top 3. I was laughing as I crossed the finish line.
Well, that's pretty funny then. We're going to iRacing Superspeedway next week in the Xfinity cars. We've talked to Chris, we've talked to Zach about it. Neither of them really know what's going to happen. What's your idea of what to expect next week?
Oh my goodness, it's yeah, I don't really know what to say. It's not my favorite track, and it's I think it's just gonna be carnage, especially in the Xfinity cars, which are just so swirly. I think I heard you guys say I was the points leader as you're coming in, and wasn't. I might just skip it, but it's yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm just gonna really try to stay on the lead lap until there's about 10 laps to go, and then see what happens. Try to be one of the only cars without damage.
Well, we've heard exciting, carnage, and terrifying, I believe, in the 3 interviews so far. So I'm really looking forward to next week. Anyone you'd like to thank on your 3rd place finish tonight, Adrian?
Yeah, once again, thanks to you guys. Y'all make this a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch the broadcast and come back and rewatch the broadcast. And I appreciate you guys interviewing me. All the series sponsors; those are some cool sponsors. Especially, just ordered my iRacing pit box so I can track the fuel without trying to do math in my head while I'm driving. And my wife, she's cool with me racing on Friday nights, which is nice. Big thanks to Michael Waltrip Racing. They let me put them on the hood. They're awesome people. They make great beer. So check them out if you live in an area where you can get it. That's about it.
Well, sounds great. Adrian Moore lucking into a 3rd place finish tonight and leaving as the points leader. Adrian, congratulations on your podium. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you talking to me.
No problem.
So there is your 3rd place finisher tonight, Adrian Moore. And before we go to the results here tonight, Nate, just another wild night, par for the course here for the iRacing East Superspeedway Series.
These guys proved tonight why they're one of the best leagues to watch on iRacing, and this showed tonight, especially with the racecraft of a lot of people. Not very often you're going to see a whole bunch of guys, 3 wide, last lap, all on the line, and they showed why they are some of the greatest drivers on the sim here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And some of these guys now will go into designated test sessions for the Rolex 24 at Daytona, the iRacing 24 at Daytona. The first race started about an hour and a half ago. Again, I will be broadcasting the 8 o'clock in the morning one tomorrow for VSM Racing, but we'll go to the results now for tonight's race. You heard the top 3. Chris Worrell, Zach Bowerman, and Adrian Moore. Those are your top 3 here for tonight. Jason Papp coming home in the 4th position. 5th goes to James Cato. 6th to Zishan Duera, Brody Smith, Connor Trafari, Shane Posey, and Elijah Innes round out the top 10. Shane Paul comes home in 11th. Nicholas Wing in the 12th position. Scott Warren, who came out of turn 4 on that last lap in the 4th position, ends up in 13th. Austin Rucker in the 79, didn't speak a word about him all night long, comes home in the 14th position. Brandon Leary coming home in 15th in the number 99. GT Park in 16th. Ernie Ludwig 17th. Jesse Cottrell coming home tonight in the 18th position. The 19th position saw John LeBombard, and rounding out the top 20 was the 501 of Brandon Wilson. Nate.
Ryan Worley, he came home in 21st position. Greg McConey, we thought maybe he could make a miracle and run to the front from where he was at. Couldn't quite do it. He finished 22nd tonight. Mark McFadden, he came home 23rd. He was involved in that last caution flag alongside with Clayton White. And the Copper Bandit car, I believe is what we called it. Cody Smith, he finished 25th tonight. Copper Comet, close enough. William Rucker, he came home 26th. Joe Gautier came home 27th position. Ronald Holmes, we saw him stuck in the wall. He came home 28th. Dan Brasington, he had not the greatest night tonight. He came home 29th. Gene Cato rolling home 30th. Cruz Hernandez, who we saw get caught up in the big one alongside of Byron Rodney. They come home 31st and 32nd respectively. Nick Kessler was another one that was involved in that accident. He came home 33rd position. And Brad Marshburn, he did not take the grid tonight. He will be classified as the 34th and final position.
I believe Brad Mashburn in the YouTube chat said, my computer thought it had to do a restart at the same time the race started. So that would be
how it usually works out.
Yeah, that's the law of averages, it seems as though. So Mashburn missing the grid because of that. So that will do it for our broadcast here tonight for the iRacing East Superspeedway Series Round 2 here at Talladega. Again, next week, cannot stress this enough. This next week is going to be wild at the iRacing Superspeedway. For those of you who have not seen the iRacing Superspeedway, it is a take on the Coca-Cola Superspeedway from the old NASCAR 2003 game for PC. It's got mile-long straightaways and 7-lane-wide turns. It's the shape of Martinsville, but in about a 4-mile stretch. So next week is going to be incredibly, incredibly wild.
I think this is the race I'm looking most forward to because nobody really, like we heard in the broadcasts, in the interviews, nobody really knows what to expect. So you have that level of unexpectancy. We could see a lot of different strategies come out next week because it's a track that nobody's really raced on. And that's the nice thing, too, with this league. You know, usually they run 2 different tracks and a couple different cars. We're going to a whole new configuration next week.
Yeah, and they will also go back to the iRacing Superspeedway in the Cup cars on the 9th of April. So 2 times they will be going to the iRacing Superspeedway this season. Both of them 70 laps, both of them at a 50% fuel fill, which adds to the strategy even more.
Yeah, that'll be definitely interesting. I think that track is not easy to pit from or get out of, so that will be extremely interesting to see how that works out.
Yep, certainly. So that will now officially do it for the broadcast here tonight. If you're watching us on Facebook, be sure to like our Facebook page so you can see all of our upcoming streams and all of our upcoming races. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, be sure to like this stream and subscribe on the YouTube channel. It means a heck of a lot to us. And by the way, we're still doing that. If we get up to 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, that means Byron, Tony, and Sam get ESPN tattoos somewhere. And because I believe the technical term is a wuss when it comes to pain, I am not taking part in that. So try to get us up to that 1,500 subscribers so that can happen. And, of course, pictures will be taken so you guys can see it. So for my broadcast partner, Nate Siefker, my name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Have a wonderful night.